Not that long ago, picking an engineering degree seemed pretty simple, right? It was mechanical, civil, electrical. You kind of knew the big players. But if you've glanced at a course catalog recently, you know that world is long gone. It's been replaced by this incredible, almost dizzying array of choices. So, how on earth do you navigate all that? Well, that's exactly what we're going to figure out today. We are going to break down this new, hyper-focused world of engineering and find the amazing opportunities that are hiding in all that choice. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to get a bird's eye view of the entire engineering universe, just to see the lay of the land. Then we'll look at why certain parts of that universe are suddenly expanding like crazy. We're going to dive deep into one of those booming areas, computer science, to see what's really going on. And finally, and this is the most important part, we'll translate all of this into a real, practical strategy for you. All right, so just how big is the world of engineering today? To get a really clear picture, we're going to use the curriculum from a major technical institution and a university as our guide to map out this vast and, honestly, pretty exciting territory. And wow, it really is massive. You can see the classic pillars right here: civil, mechanical, electrical. I mean, these are literally the fields that built our modern world. But hidden within these broad categories, well, that's where the real story begins. Okay, but this is where it gets really, really interesting. When you start to look closer at what's happening inside each of these big departments, you start to see this fascinating trend emerge. Some areas aren't just growing a little bit, they are absolutely exploding with brand new super specific degree programs. I mean, this chart just tells the whole story, doesn't it? Look at this. On one end, you've got these really important traditional fields like architecture and planning with a couple of core degrees. Totally makes sense. But then, look all the way over at computer science and information engineering. It's just a whole different ballgame. The visual says it all. There's a massive expansion happening, and it's happening in tech. And let's be super clear, this isn't random. Universities aren't just creating new degrees for fun. This is a direct response to what the industry is screaming for. They need engineers with deep, specific, ready-to-go skills. So what we're seeing is education fundamentally restructuring itself to meet that demand. So let's double-click on that faculty with all the action, computer science, and see what the specialization actually looks like for a student who's trying to figure out their path. And wow, this list says it all, doesn't it? Of course, you've still got your foundational computer science and engineering degree. That's the bedrock. But just look at what's branching off from it. You've got dedicated degrees in the Internet of Things, in cybersecurity, in artificial intelligence and machine learning. You are no longer just a generalist who hopes to specialize later. You can train to be an expert right from day one. This whole trend of creating these incredibly laser-focused degrees, it actually has a name: hyper-specialization. And really getting your head around this concept is the key to making sense of this whole new educational landscape. So what this really means is that universities are basically reverse engineering their degrees. They're looking at the job market first, identifying a specific high-demand role, and then they're building an entire 4-year curriculum that acts as a direct pipeline to that exact job. It's a total game changer. This degree in computer science and engineering with a specialization in cybersecurity is the perfect example of this in action. Think about it. Instead of a general CS degree where you might take a few security classes on the side, this entire program is built from the ground up to teach you one thing: how to protect our digital world. From networks to data, every course is geared toward creating a security expert. It's a direct answer to one of the biggest needs in the world today. Okay, so we get the trend. We see what's happening. But what do you actually do with all this information? Let's talk about how you can use this shift to make a much, much smarter decision about your own future. Now, at first glance, I know this explosion of choice can feel incredibly overwhelming. More options can sometimes just feel like more confusion. But I want you to try and reframe that in your mind. This isn't confusion. This is actually a massive opportunity. It gives you more power and more clarity than any generation of students has had before, if you know how to look at it. So here's your new strategy, your playbook. Step 1, just recognize that this is the new reality. Understand that these degrees are being built with a specific career in mind from day one. That's your starting point.
Step 2, use that to your advantage. If you're genuinely passionate about AI or cybersecurity, you don't have to wait 4 years to get into it. You can dive in head first. And third, treat the degree title like a road sign. It is literally telling you its destination, the exact job market it's designed for. So this isn't about being confused, it's about being given incredible clarity.
This leaves us with a pretty exciting final thought. The degrees we just looked at in AI and IoT and cybersecurity, most of them didn't even exist a decade ago. So given the insane speed at which technology is moving, what kind of engineer is the world going to need in 5 years? What new degrees will pop up? And maybe more importantly, what kind of engineer do you want to become?